Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today I'm here with Daniel Karabela.
I was a big troll in all my physics class, especially on Zoom, man. It's so much fun to troll.
It was really easy.
Yeah, it was so easy. My grandfather, he comes from a line of like bourgeoisie. If you were born rich, you're basically removed of a lot of problems that like 90% of the people have to face. Yeah.
The picture I posted of equity versus equality. And I said equality because that's the easy, obvious answer. A lot of disagreement.
Equal opportunities does not equal outcome. Just like the whole communism thing is like everyone's equal. I go out and I gather 400 apples. John goes out and he only picks 100 apples. But because we're both equal, I get paid the same amount as John. I won't name names, but there are some people who will like openly admit to being addicted to social media. They're like, dude, I can't stop scrolling. You just told me you're addicted. Like, just like, I know it's hard, but just stop. Life is presentially beautiful. Guys are so addicted to pornography and that they don't see the need to go out and find their soulmate, and they're just like, oh, I'll get it later, I'll just jerk off now. Like who cares? Oh dude, like I have a math test, oh let me jerk off. All these women are being fed lies that they find their purpose in work. No one finds their purpose in work.
It's interesting. Yeah, you're definitely gonna piss some of the CEOs off. Piss off some of the girl bosses.
Yeah,
they might come after you.
Dude, you know what I really liked is your Twitter initiative that you started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of nice.
If something happens in the future where you get demonetized, then you have a backup, right?
Oh, of course, man.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it. All right. How do you pronounce your last name?
Just Karabela.
Karabela.
Yeah.
Cool. Danny or Daniel?
Call me whatever makes you happy, man.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the VoV podcast, Voices of Vic. Today I'm here with Daniel Karabela, friends of Justin Spears. So we got a connection
The
from
infamous Justin Spears.
episode 21. How did you meet Justin?
Justin, well, my first year was online. So we were in the same program of physics and math originally. Yeah. And we took the same physics classes. And I was a big troll in all my physics classes, especially on Zoom, man. It was so much fun to troll.
It was really easy.
Yeah, it was so easy to troll. And the thing is, like, there were no repercussions, right? So you can do, like, dumb stuff. And, like, the prof would, like, be like, okay, and then just move on.
Yeah.
So anyways, I was doing, like, stupid things on the Zoom. And then last year, I'm in my math class. So I'm in quantum physics. And then Justin's there. And he's like, yo, dude, I remember you from our first year class. I was like, dude, no way. Are you serious? And then he described an exact moment that I was like, damn, like this guy actually was in my class.
Yeah.
And then after that, we kind of bonded because I think he had joined one of our math classes late. And then I was like, dude, like I got you.
Yeah.
Well, like help him out, not like.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, our friendship sparked, and
there you go.
Kind of how it goes from there, yeah.
Bromance ever since.
Bromance, yeah.
But no, that actually is pretty ballsy first year university, because I had the main COVID year last year of high school. So you kind of know the teachers, you know how the school works, whatever. So that trolling in ours, there was one class where obviously when it first got started, everyone would get kicked every class. Yeah, that was the best part. But after they settled that out, there was one where the professor was like, well, I guess a teacher in high school, not a professor. But the teacher was like 15 minutes late, and everyone's wondering what it was. We had a guy share his screen and start giving the lesson for math. He was the worst student in the class, but he was like, so you got to listen, the derivative, everyone was laughing. But anyways, that's funny. You're a philosophy student.
I am a philosophy student, yeah.
We're going to talk about some deep topics today.
I would love to talk about deep topics, man.
Go into some deep thinking, but why'd you choose philosophy?
Why I choose philosophy? So I was originally in math and physics with Justin. And then right about last year, near about the end, I kind of was asking myself, like, like what kind of a purpose do I have? Because that's like a big problem for a lot of us nowadays is like we struggle with having a sense of purpose. And so I asked myself that question, and I kept asking myself, is math and physics something that could, because first of all, I didn't find a purpose in math and physics. Like doing math and physics, unfun. Yeah. Absolutely unfun. It's just not for me. And so then I asked myself, okay, like what's a segue or like what's something I can use math and physics for to help achieve my purpose? And it's like, okay, do I want to be a data analyst, or like do I want to be like a code monkey, or well, not a code monkey, sorry. Like, do I want to be like a grunt who does like all the like, you know, who does like menial tasks in like the back office of things, right? I was like, nah, dude, not so much. And then I have a friend of mine he's high up in a company, and I was talking to him. I'm like, look, man, like, what does it take to work at your job, right? Because there's obviously all likes of life there. Like, what's the background? Like, what's the educational demographic? And he was like, dude, like, you'd be surprised to know that we hire from all ranges. It literally just depends on how good you are as a person. And I think that this actually only applies for A, his company, but B, also for like certain positions.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you don't want like an art student managing your financial asset sheets, right? Like that would just turn to mud instantly. But
so then, what did that company consider a good person?
So a good person is like you know, there's these like jokes that people make, like, oh, like you have to be like a team-oriented person or like be a good leader. But like, those are actually genuinely one of the few things that they look for.
Yeah.
For these really well-paying jobs. I mean, the main thing is like being able to learn and being able to adapt. I think adapting is the biggest thing, because they're gonna throw you in like murky water, and you can't just be drowning, or you can't be asking for like a buoy every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I have to be able to figure stuff out. And I think another big thing is like it's how you manage stress and pressure, because that's huge, man. Like all these places will, you know, they really like pile you on with work, and you know they want someone who's gonna still be able to deliver.
Yeah.
And so how this ties into philosophy is he was basically like, dude, like they're like, we have some philosophy guys and they're just amazing people. You know, like it took them, you know there was kind of a steep learning curve in terms of what they're doing. I think the philosophy guys were all in sales, surprisingly. And so he was like, yeah, like these guys just know how to interact with people, and they know how to like talk to people.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, let me hop on that wave. And then after I started that, because I kind of wanted like, not an easy way out, but I guess we can call it an easy way out.
Fair.
I ended up like really getting deeply interested in philosophy, especially like the ancient Greek stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much how I got to doing philosophy.
There you go. Yeah, it's quite the shift, physics to philosophy.
Yeah.
Interesting life path you got on there. But no, it's a good point about how some of the most basic skills that these companies are looking for is really the main thing. And we can get distracted with whatever GPA boosting and all this stuff. I've talked plenty of that on this podcast of how I don't think that's very beneficial if you're neglecting other key aspects of life. But yeah, no, that's a good thing. You are not from Czech Republic.
No, my mom is.
Your mom's from Czech Republic. So I got a little confused as he was getting in here on the elevator. I was expecting like a thick accent. I was telling everyone, yeah, we got this European kid coming on, but fluent English.
Fluent English.
I was like, this guy sounds like he's from where I'm from. And you're from Ontario.
Yeah, sadly.
Sadly. So explain like what your dad's Canadian?
No, both of my parents are from Europe.
Okay.
So my dad is from Poland. So his family comes from a long line of Poles. They've been there for a long time. I don't know how many generations they've been there, but they've basically been in like rural Poland for like at least the last 400 years.
Yeah.
And he ended up immigrating here with his father. I forget why his father immigrated here, but he just did randomly. And he started a life here in Toronto with my father. And then, that kind of developed and flourished into where I am now.
Yeah.
My mom has a little bit of more interesting stories. So when she was born, she was basically at the tail end of the communist, the communist takeover after World War II.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, he comes from a line of like the bourgeoisie.
Okay.
So pretty power. Like he was pretty, and he is a very powerful people. If
this is your mom's dad?
Yeah, my mom's father. So if you actually go to Czech Republic at the Prague cathedral. I forget which one, but there's actually photos of my uncles on there.
Wow.
Yeah, like he was like the main architect and stuff on there. Yeah.
So wait, at the time then that would have been Czechoslovakia, not Czech Republic. Is that right?
Yes.
I don't know when they got split up. But.
Me too. This is kind of sad because I was just reading a book about it. But yeah. No, it was I think it was actually it was before it became Czech Republic and Slovakia because the guy was still too young. Yeah, the president, that new president. So anyways, my grandfather's father was like, because he was bourgeoisie, like he had connections everywhere.
Yeah.
But this also mean that he had lots of property and lots of assets, which is something the communists love to steal from people, right?
Yeah.
They love taking your stuff.
Yeah.
So my grandfather, he got a tip from my great grandfather. He was like, dude, like you guys got a dip because they're gonna come. Like they already took a third of our estates. You have to, move, like get a move on, like get married to my grandmother, and move out of the country. And so my grandfather, he took his advice, got married, and then I think there was a problem with the immigration process or like the escaping part, which took a while because my mom was born in between the time that they were married and had her,
between when they were married and left.
Yeah, between when they were married and left. Yeah. So this whole process was like culminating up to this point. I think when my mom was like 4 years old, so 1968. Yeah. My grandfather was just like, you know what, screw it. Like this is taking too long. Like we have to get out of here because they're starting to encroach. So then they kind of made their way. So they just literally just packed up a car, drove to Austria. Yeah. And I think at Austria they ended up, I don't know, I forget how they did, but they went to the consulate, the Czech consulate there, and they're like, we need to get out of here. Jeez. Like, we're not safe. And luckily, the person was nice. He was like, yeah, man, like, no worries. Like, we'll get you, like, we'll fast track you. Wow. And then they flew over here, and then it was kind of like, them coming over here was just basically like every single immigration family that comes here. It's like tough to start out. Yeah. Tough to find a place to stay, tough to find a job, but he got lucky, and rest is history, I guess.
That's awesome. Yeah. So your grandfather then, when he got word that they were coming to steal his shit, does he just abandon it, or is he like selling it off? Does he get the value back from that, or is it like I gotta go?
Yeah, so I think he just kind of weighed the moral scale there. He said, look, it's either my family or I try to protect my assets fighting, and I have to fight the communists to save my assets. And he was like, it's not worth it. Like, I mean, he was a hardworking guy, so he didn't mind the challenge of coming to Canada. Yeah. And like providing for the family. So he was
starting fresh, basically.
Yeah, starting fresh, basically. So he was like, yeah, like no biggie. I mean, after the whole communist thing happened, they ended up getting back most of their land.
Oh, nice.
But like most, like there were still some very special spots that were just basically given to the government. Yeah. But he has but we no longer have rights to those. I think my grandfather abdicated himself from the will because, I mean, there's just a lot of, like, I don't want to.
A lot of technical details. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to like paint myself to be some really rich kid.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
But like there was like lots of money, and there was and then there was basically like a lot of family tension. Yeah. So my grandfather was like, you know what, screw it, like I don't care. Like you guys can fight for the whatever, like 400 acres of land and castles and shit. So he's like, whatever.
That's crazy.
But yeah.
That's crazy. That's pretty sick. That's gangster. Just like it.
Yeah.
I'll believe it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Because the reason I asked that was because I was lying in bed last night. I don't know what made me think about like a fire. I was like, what would happen if this building just caught on fire? If I woke up.
This building?
This building.
Okay.
Woke up in the middle of the night, flames at my door. I got to get out the window. Mm-hmm. I was trying to think, what are the most valuable items in this room? Because it would be a scramble. I don't want to be in a situation where, like, because I don't know. Some people, like, they say, yeah, just get out of the building. In the moment, do you think you'd try to pick something up? Like you kind of like your phone maybe would be a big one because you need to contact people and all that stuff. But I think that I should try to figure out maybe a list, put like the most valuable fire items in a box. Yeah. So that if the day comes where I wake up with flames at my door, I can take it and fucking run.
Can I just say something just
Yeah.
just real quick? Have you I heard that in a movie. That's like the whole premise of this one movie about this Irish girl who or this girl travels to Ireland.
I've never heard of this.
Have you ever heard of it? Okay,
No.
sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was like, dude, this is like so similar to this movie I literally just watched.
Oh, maybe it's
so. Go ahead. Sorry.
It just sounds like the same thing. It's obviously a very de-escalated version of what your grandpa went through, but I don't know. Like I feel like sometimes I need to have better provisions. Contingency plans of what do I need to get out. Like it's not the 50s where you might have a valuable family photo of a family member that died or something, and you never get it back again.
Yeah.
Everything's digital. But no, it's interesting. I'll ask you another question. This is more, now we're getting into the philosophy realm.
Okay.
That seems like a rougher upbringing that your grandfather had compared to, I guess, most of people's childhoods nowadays. And just in terms of that experience of escaping the communists.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that, you're not a rich kid. You're not trying to paint yourself as this rich kid.
The opposite, man.
And I think that, at least for me, I feel like the people who have one of the best hands in life is the ones that are born without money. Kind of born broke is a good life setup because you have the grind and the will that a rich kid might not have. He just wants things handed to him.
Yeah.
But once again, that's a very easy topic to talk about,
Yeah.
Your philosophy major here. We're trying to get deep into, the real nitty-gritty of this stuff. So I'm not going to ask you about people with a rough upbringing.
If you want to, dude, I don't mind.
How would you, as a rich kid, if you were a rich kid, get that same grit and will? Because even in Canada, you could look at us globally. We technically on a global stage, Canadians are rich kids,
of course,
compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So, you don't choose the hand you're dealt, whether it's good or bad. How would you get that same grind and work ethic and strive that people get with tougher upbringings?
Yeah. It's funny. I literally just heard David Goggins talk about this on the Andrew Huberman podcast. You heard of him?
I saw that. I didn't watch it yet, but I've seen it. Yeah.
As he talks about this. Well, he doesn't talk about specifically this, but he says I'm kind of gonna paraphrase here, is that if you are born rich, you're basically removed of a lot of problems that 90% of the people have to face.
Yeah.
Problems
that build you up.
Yeah. No, exactly. Things like working or working for something is a big thing. I mean, it's I have a job because I have to pay for my own groceries. But I know that if I was theoretically rich, I wouldn't need a job, and so I can spend more time doing other things.
Yeah.
So in terms of how a rich person, let's just say person, not kid, let's just say a rich person, he'd basically have to create this friction himself. And I think the only way for you to do it is for you to first realize the position you're in and be grateful for what you have, appreciate what you have. But you should also remove yourself from it. It's kind of difficult because it's you don't want to insert yourself into the slums because it's dangerous, but it's also
it's just impractical.
Yeah, it's kind of impractical. But I'd say if you're rich, go out and get a job, work with your hands, do blue collar jobs if you're a guy. I actually recommend blue collar jobs for first jobs, especially for guys. I won't talk about girls because I don't really know what a girl should do.
Fair.
Because I'm not one.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of guys, it's just you just need to set your priorities straight, and you need to really remove yourself from this comfort. Because if you sit in comfort, I mean, it just breeds weakness, man.
I agree.
Well, I guess to a certain extent, I won't say all comfort breeds weakness.
No, but I understand what you're saying. Over a long enough time frame, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. That's not exactly how I reasoned it in my head, because I thought if I was rich, or actually the way I think about it is if one day I get rich, how would I raise my kid?
That's a very good question.
That's the harder question.
That's the harder question, yeah.
So I don't know if I could get him to, or convince him that working that blue collar job is it is valuable. It is valuable. Yeah. I think that this is something I've said a lot, and there's leaks in the argument for sure, but I think that success in large part can be determined by how you build on your parents' legacy. So if you were born, take Donald Trump. Donald Trump's dad was rich, right? So he grew up wealthy.
Yeah.
But then he went and became even richer than his dad and also the president of the United States. That's building on your dad's legacy. So I think that Donald Trump then could be classified as an impressive person because he did more than what his dad did.
Yeah.
Even though he was born rich. And I think that's a huge thing. I think that's the only way you could kind of, once again, instill it in the mind of a boy, of a son, to think, you know, what you're doing is actually, it's hard and it's meaningful and it gives you purpose.
Meaningful is the word here. Yeah. I mean, like the main thing is like you want to, well, just to build off, like you want them to understand, you know, like what they have and what their predicament is, right? Because it's like, you know, like you'll see some rich snobs here who don't understand the concept of money. They'll just go and throw their money in your face.
Right.
I know someone who's really wealthy who still has an older generation phone. And I've asked them, like, you know, like you have all this money, why not upgrade? And he was like, oh, I don't need to upgrade. Like my phone works.
Yeah.
And I mean, instilling that like understanding of money and understanding not understanding their place in a rude way, but like understanding their place in society and how like we're technically all the same.
It's
I
true.
mean, like, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. But
No, obviously. No, but it's true. Like, because I wouldn't want my kid to be apologetic for his hand. Just as the poor kid doesn't choose that he's born poor, the rich kid doesn't choose that he's born rich. Obviously, he can't be a snob. That's an easy step one.
Of course.
But from there, yes, humble yourself. Step one still, don't be a snob. But after that, I think you just got to build on what's already there.
Yeah.
And this is something that I was thinking about when I was planning out for this episode is that the standards that are put on kids nowadays are getting lower and lower when what it's meant to be is getting higher and higher, at least in the West.
Yeah.
We're accepting laziness, I feel. Do you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the way I put it, I actually saw a video. I'm sure there's a few videos I'm going to mention right now. There's a few. I'm sure people have seen them. There was a video on Instagram of a classroom in China. This was like an elementary school, like grade 4 classroom of a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Between lessons, the teacher would like lead a dance routine where the kids would be sitting in their desks and flailing their arms like crazy. Like just the most cardio you've ever seen from an 8-year-old in your life. They were just going like...
Yeah.
Like it was insane. It was like 40 Chinese kids just with the most insane regimented routine I've ever witnessed in my life. Over here, Canada, US, I don't need to begin to tell you what's going on in our schools, but it's definitely not cardio.
Oh no, obviously not. Yeah.
It's not cardio. It's not this strict routine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another video. JFK, I saw it on YouTube. JFK in 1962 had a fitness...
The Fitness Act.
Fitness Act. I forget exactly what it was called. But he put out a statement, a video for schools. There was a certain requirement that these American high school kids had to reach.
Yeah.
And it was insane. These guys were like super soldiers out there.
Yeah.
In a short 60 years.
Yeah, well, it's...
America's the fattest country now. One of.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of in part with like what's been happening with society and like how it's been growing. But I think it's also like the foods and everything we've been consuming. Because back then, and I remember my mom telling me this, and I'm so jealous of her and her childhood. Because back then, my grandmother would go to a bakery, buy fresh baked bread. My grandmother would then go to a butcher and buy fresh meat.
Yeah.
Straight, like, literally from a ranch 20 kilometers down the road.
Yeah.
This is like downtown Toronto, by the way, at the time, right?
Oh, you're not talking about Czech Republic.
I'm not talking about Czech Republic. This is like downtown Toronto, yeah.
Damn.
And same thing, like, you know, like you would look at the ingredients and it's like water, sugar, grape flavoring, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, you look at the food and it's like, dude, I was looking at salt, and like salt has like iodine in it, which is like, I don't know. It's just like random. I mean, I'm not a biologist and I'm kind of like superstitious about all this stuff. So I'm going to have this bias towards all these random things. But still, like, I mean, like, I think that like a lot of these foods are actually hurting us and they're making us fatter and they're not giving us the same kind of nutrients. They're high in like garbage. I know like the sugar content, like, dude, like I've never seen Glide dyed trisulfide type of sugar. And it's like, dude, I didn't realize that was a thing, or
what
that was
is
something
that?
that's like naturally occurring. I thought sugar was just whatever, like the basic sugar. And it's, so that's like the half of the issue. I mean, the other half is society accepts, I'm blanking on the word right now, but like it just accepts like average. You know, it's like we're just breeding average people. Like, you know, like you go to school, oh, you know, it's fine if you get a 70 because you pass. Or actually, no, let's not talk grades, but let's talk like, oh, you know, like in my PE class, it was like, oh, like you know, like you didn't pass the beep test. But that's fine because you were close.
Yeah,
or like you were average, like you're with everyone else. And it's like, dude, like what?
No.
Like everyone's going to become lazy and everyone's going to have this mentality of like, oh, it's fine to be average.
Right.
It's fine if I don't work out. It's fine if I don't try to become my peak.
Yeah.
Because I've been praised my whole life for not achieving it. So why start now?
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And the scariest part is when you look on it country versus country. This is what I tend to do a lot. Because like, I'm patriotic. I love Canada. I am very sad to see it crumble.
Of course.
All the kids start looking like a fucking bowling ball when they get into class.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I'm patriotic. But going back to China, shout out to China, by the way. I saw another video of an 8-year-old girl busting out the sickest violin song. I don't know exactly chords.
Yeah, it is just a song.
The violin song
Yeah.
I've ever witnessed. It's the coolest thing. And this, I'm going to circle this into my field, right? Economics. There's a principle in economics when you have a monopoly in a certain market, the monopolist has to consider a price effect and a quantity effect when it's choosing how much of its product to sell. So let's say if I'm selling you apples, if I'm selling U of T apples and I have a monopoly on the U of T apple market, okay, I get to choose how much I want to sell my apples for because the students, if they want apples, they can't go anywhere else. That's what a monopoly is. They have to come to me. So I get to choose. Everyone has a different willingness to pay for apples, okay? You, not being a rich kid, might say, I'm only willing to spend $2 for one of your apples. But then the international student with the Supreme Balenciaga full dripped out outfit, he might say, I'm going to spend $8 for one of your apples, right? So I need to set a price according to all these people. So once again, the price effect would be, the quantity effect is, if I want to sell more apples, I got to lower my price. Yeah. Right? So if I want to get that international student and Daniel, I got to drop it to $2, right? Yeah. And then, but there's also a price effect. Now, I can't in this context, I'm not going to get too deep into economics. It's boring as shit. But in this context, I can't sell him for $8 and you for $2. I have to set one price. Yeah. So now I can sell it to you for $2, but I lose the $6 on the international student, right? So once again, how does this circle into what we're talking about? I think that there's a huge problem with a price effect that's going on with the country because in China, once again, they have these super high standards. Yeah. We need our 8-year-olds to be busting out the violin like professionals, right? Super high standards. What you lose on that, the quantity effect, so some kids are going to get left behind. Oh, right? Yeah, of course. Some kids are not going to be able to meet that standard, and then people will go on about suicide rate. If you put these high standards on kids, they kill themselves, which I actually researched it, is not true. Canada is 67th in the world for suicides? Rate. Guess where China is?
Probably like 50th, close.
121.
Are you serious?
121. China is 121 on the global suicide ranking, which is insane.
One?
Sorry?
What's number one? Is it Japan?
Number one is, no, it's some country in like southern Africa. Lesotho. I think Lesotho got number one. I don't know what's going on in Lesotho, but yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So suicide can't be the issue. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I think Japan's at like 49. US is 31. So once again, US is lowering their standards and it's not having a huge effect. So we can't lower the standards for the entire country just to include these bottom feeders, right?
Equal opportunities does not equal equal outcomes.
Correct.
Does not mean equal outcomes.
Correct. That's completely true. People need to hear that. I posted that picture.
I saw it.
You saw that. We can talk about that.
That's what popped to my mind. When you started talking about like everyone's at the same level,
Yeah.
like that's the first thing I clicked. I was like, equal opportunities does not equal equal outcomes.
Absolutely. So yeah, I actually want to talk to you about that picture because the vote was 75 for equal outcome, which is insane.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, we have to lift the standard. We have to get the bar higher.
Of course.
Because it's going to have better effects on the country as a whole. Mm-hmm. Some kids are going to be left behind. That's the cost of business.
Of course.
And the state we're at now is terrible.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I would even say like you need to leave behind. I just think you just need to find their strengths and find their weaknesses, right? And find what they can actually grow in.
Yeah.
Actually adapt to, right? So.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah. So we were talking about the picture I posted of equity versus equality. And I said equality because that's the easy, obvious answer. A lot of disagreement. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think that, like, I don't know. I guess this all just circles back to just like equal opportunities does not equal equal outcomes because you'll have people who like naturally are better in some places and some people who aren't. In terms of equity, like the only thing I ever hear about equity is in two things. One, it's like in schools. So for like admissions, I can understand that kind of making sense. Like you want to pull in, let's say like a really disadvantaged kid who's like really smart. Like, okay, like you pay for his entire tuition, that's fine. But then it's like, okay, but then but after you get that kind of very specific case, then they kind of start to like branch it out slowly. And then you get things like, oh, if you're a certain gender, you will get a scholarship 100%, or you will get more scholarship than someone else. Yeah. That's when it kind of gets unfair. Right. When you start to make it way too broad. And then, so like, I mean, I still think that everyone everyone dictates their life no matter what state they're in. I mean, some people's lives are just arguably like horrific. But I mean, it's how you choose to deal with those horrific things. I mean, I don't really know like what.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's like a very difficult topic because it's just incredibly nuanced and like it just depends on the applications and where it happens. So
absolutely. And as we were saying, you don't choose the hand you're dealt. All you can do is make the best of it. That sounds like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But no, I said equality. And
I think I voted that too.
There was an interesting stat that came out from that poll, not just the split, because I think it was a 75-25 split.
For equality or for equity?
For equity. Okay. For equity. And that's expected because I think the university... Well, you can argue that. Yeah. But, university students tend to lean more towards equity.
Yeah.
This is crazy, though. The gender split on these votes.
Oh, you have a gender split on there?
I went and I just looked at all the profile pictures and I counted up how many women voted for that, how many men voted for this. So for the men, there was 42 men that voted.
Okay.
And equity won 26-16. Okay.
Really?
Close.
Okay.
Close vote. 26-16, it's tight. Yeah. For the women, 25 women voted.
Really?
And equity won 25-0.
None? Oh.
Every single woman that voted on this poll voted for equity, which is crazy. There's not a single woman that voted for equality. The only people who voted for equality were men. And once again, men still, equity won in the men vote, the man's vote. And I thought about that. I was like, this is expected. This is super expected because equity is quite, I feel like it's quite the emotional argument you would make for equity.
That's very
it's not as logical. It's about, we don't want people struggling. We don't want people, who are disadvantaged. We need to bring people up. What if, the guy up there, once again, it's about equal outcome. The argument, once again, the picture saw 3 guys watching a baseball game.
Yeah.
Well, there's a short dude. Some people are saying it's a kid. I just saw it as different heights.
Short dude, yeah.
Yeah, so there's the tall man,
yeah,
the average height, and then the short dude. And the equality side of the picture, I guess I should have explained it for the people that don't know what it looks like. But the equality side of the picture showed the tall man, the medium height, and the short guy, each standing on a box. They were watching a baseball game, and there was a fence. So the tall guy had a great view. The fence wasn't blocking him at all. The average height guy could just see over the fence. He can still watch the game. And the short dude was blocked by the fence. They each had 1 box. That's equality. Equity, the tall dude had no box. The short dude had 2 boxes. And the average height guy still had 1 box. That way they could all watch the game.
Yeah.
So in that picture, I feel like that picture kind of favors equity. Because it's like, yeah, everyone watches the game here. No one watches. And the short guy doesn't get to watch it here. Why would you choose for equality?
Yeah.
But when you go deeper into it, philosophy, once again, we're thinking deep here. When you go deeper into it, there's so many arguments for why equality still makes sense. How did they each get the boxes? Did they need to work 8 hours?
That's good. I didn't think about that.
To pick up a box, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the tall guy really wanted no obstruction from the fence. He worked 8 hours, he got a box. The short guy could have worked extra hours, he didn't. I think that equality is absolutely the way to go.
That's very good, because what you're basically describing is almost like capitalism.
That's what it is.
Or communism.
Well, comparison between the two.
Or yeah, no, I forget which one, but yeah, it's one of those two, because Marx, he talks about everyone's equal. That's this the whole communism thing is everyone's equal. And so if I go out and I gather 400 apples, but John goes out, or no, I won't use you because you look like a good worker, but John goes out and he only picks 100 apples.
Yeah.
But because we're both equal, I get paid the same amount as John, or John gets paid the same amount of me, so I get paid the same amount as John. So then I'm why should I work?
Yeah.
And then I become a bum.
Yeah.
Or I just start loafing around.
Exactly.
So that's what that kind of mimics in my head.
That's exactly what I see. I see equity and communism as aligning ideas. And equality.
Bold statement, but yeah.
Hot take. Equality and capitalism, those are aligning ideas as well. That's how I see it. Obviously, like you said, it's a nuanced argument. There's different circumstances, but that's just honestly, that's my take.
Yeah. Well, that's probably, I didn't even, that just popped into my head, the capitalism and communism.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to put it.
100%.
Yeah.
It just circles back. I don't know why this new generation seems a lot, very focused on equity.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not this generation. Maybe it's just the time we're in, the era. It's not capitalistic at all. It's very communistic feel. Yeah.
Well, it's because of social media, man.
It is. Okay. Talk to me about social media. What do you think the effects of social media have been on people our age?
So on people our age, there's numerous downsides to social media, and people don't even realize it. I won't name names, but there are some people who will openly admit to being addicted to social media. They're like, dude, I can't stop scrolling.
Yeah.
And it's you just told me you're addicted. I know it's hard, but just stop.
Right.
The problem. Why do you keep feeding into it? Oh, but it's so bad for me. Same with vaping and all that kind of stuff, but we can get into that after.
Yeah.
But dude, so the first thing is people's ability for just self-control. It's you understand what you're doing, or most of the time they don't even realize. They're just oh, it doesn't matter because I'll just sleep 1 less hour, or I just won't eat an hour later because I'm just scrolling. That's the first issue. The second, and I think the biggest issue is this problem of comparison. People don't even realize that it's going on, but every time you scroll and you see someone doing better than you don't subconsciously your brain will associate you being somewhat lesser. And then that kind of pivots into the whole equity thing. You get everyone thinks that everyone should be equal because, why should Elon Musk have a $300 billion yacht?
Yeah.
I should have a yacht like that, right?
Right.
I think attention spans too, it's just absolutely destroyed because every video nowadays, so TikTok really broke everything.
Yeah.
Because, actually no, Vine did technically, but Vine died out because people got bored of it, right? But then you introduced this, like the iPad kid generation.
Right.
And TikTok took advantage of that and just completely destroyed everyone's attention span from children. Now what all these kids are used to are like 7-second things. If they don't figure it out in 7 seconds, they want to move on, or they just give up.
Yeah. And the impacts that could have, this is something I thought about the other day. The impacts that could have on religion is scary. How are you going to sit down and read a fucking Bible when you have TikTok diagnosed brain and you can't focus for more than 7 seconds? You're going to get to, what is it? Isaiah chapter.
Yeah.
Throw it out the window.
Yeah, of course.
Which is terrible. Once again, we're talking about how important religion is off camera, but that's not a good effect either.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like the way that I see religion is I think that you just need to drive to do it. And so I feel like if you are addicted to social media, you will find time. I personally do, because like I'm not perfect. I'll get lost in YouTube videos and like YouTube essays and stuff like that, which are obviously a waste of time. I should be studying, but I'll go and do that. But like, if it comes time for like a religious thing, like I go like going to church on Sunday, like I don't have any problem doing it. I think it's because I have that drive.
Right.
And I think that,
I mean, it could also be because you're born in 2002. How do you fix the iPad generation, though?
How do you fix the iPad generation? It's kind of sad because my niece and nephew, they're 9, 7, and 5, and they're like iPad kids, sadly.
Yeah.
But so what I do to try to help them is I invite them over to my farm, because I live alone. So I'm like, dude, like I asked my brother, dude, like send them over to my house for a weekend. Yeah. And like I'll just screw around with them. And I usually I try to never touch my phone, right, so they don't see me with it, and then they don't get it in their head. Mm-hmm. So I bring them over and we just spend the time outdoors. I think the best thing is to just make them realize like there's more to life than a YouTube video. Yeah. Like life is presentially beautiful. Mm-hmm. iPad's always gonna be beautiful, but you can never experience, man.
It's true. Yeah. That's a good point. There's a certain amount of like, what's a healthy amount? Because I posted that
the poll
clip, the screen time thing. You were like one of the 2% that said under 2 hours.
Yeah, dude. I think okay. The problem is like actual like looking at your phone, because that time is skewed because it picks up your phone calls. If you're on the phone, it counts as screen time. Yeah. So it's very screwed if you're someone who calls a lot. But I think like actual eye time, like face to face, looking at a screen, I would say at most like 2 hours. Yeah. Like that's, I mean, I don't want to say it's pushing it, but I'd say like at most 2 hours, because that gives you enough time to like, if you respond to all your text messages like instantly, and you have a conversation that usually amounts like half an hour per day, that's fine. Like that's basically going to be unavoidable. Same thing with like phone calls. I mean, no one calls nowadays, so I would assume it's like nothing. But for me, I call regularly. So for me, it's like in between a half an hour and an hour a day. And then the other 30 minutes is like, I don't know, me on YouTube, or I have, like usually someone will tell me, yo, dude, like go look up something, because I'm in some like investing things, so I'll like have to go look it up or something like that. Or else, like looking up like Google Maps train times, that's something that takes up some of my screen time. So I'd say like 2 hours.
So then where does work get done? On your laptop?
Yes. So that was specifically for phone. Yeah. I think for laptop, I think it's unavoidable. Right. But I mean, yeah, like it's unavoidable for your laptop. So you may as well like reduce your total net screen time usage. Yeah. So at least stop with your phone. Like your laptop, I mean, like you can't not type a paper. Right. I can't not access my readings. Yeah. So, but I mean, you can get like special filters for your laptop. Like laptops are designed to be a little bit more healthier for your eyes. Yeah. But I know now they're making OLED screens, so it's like glass. It's becoming basically just a bigger phone. Right. So,
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Lots to consider, man.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think that, I mean, this is a very simplistic view, but if you reduce the amount of unintentional screen time to 0, mm-hmm. then you're good.
Yeah, that's probably a much better way to phrase it than what I just said.
And well, also we could argue about what should be intentional. Like I'll sit with a guy and say, you are on TikTok for 6 hours a day. And he's like, what's wrong with that? I'm like, you a dumbass? What do you mean what's wrong with that? Yeah. So some people don't care. Some people are like, this.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Fine.
Yeah, but that's that average mentality we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Like these people, like they don't care because they're average.
Right. It's messed up.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book.
You are?
No, not really. But if I were to write a book, the title, there's another thing I thought about today.
Okay.
Planning out this episode. The title, if I had to write a book, would be, let me make sure I get this right. The title of the book would be From Monkeys to Meerkats. Let me explain.
That's a good one. Meerkats, like the guys that stand up in the African savannas.
That get out of the dirt? Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay.
So the book's called From Monkeys to Meerkats. Let me explain what I mean by that. Back in the day, okay? 50s, 60s, around that time, I feel, this is just intuition, I don't know. I feel like when people were born, the idea is that, everyone starts off at ground zero. If you want to make something of yourself, you got to climb to the top.
Yeah.
Whether it's in business, whether it's you want to be a huge movie star, whether you want to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Everyone starts at ground zero. You got to climb to the top. You got to climb like a monkey.
Yeah.
Okay. Up a tree for a banana. The banana's the gold, the prize, the trophy, right?
Yeah.
The trophy of life.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I think everyone was monkeys, From monkeys to meerkats. Now everyone's meerkats. What does that mean? You mentioned the animals that go like this. The African savanna that just pop out from the ground. I think that our generation we're no longer monkeys. We're meerkats. Everyone is so blanketed and f***ed over by so many bullshit societal problems that to become exceptional, you don't actually need to climb the tree like they used to. Yeah. You just need to get out of the dirt from under all the shitty things that average people struggle with. I don't think that you understand just how important and how successful you are if you simply don't watch porn, aren't addicted to weed.
100%. That first one's really important.
That first one's really important.
Really
we'll come
important.
back to it.
Yeah.
Don't watch porn. Don't smoke weed.
Okay.
Aren't addicted to video games.
Okay.
Aren't addicted to social media.
Okay.
Aren't addicted to McDonald's.
Okay.
All right. It's the basic things.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
You don't even, that's like, it's crazy that the bar has gotten so low. It comes back to high standards. The bar is so low.
Yeah.
We're all meerkats. Get your head out of the dirt.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
Meerkats. Thank you. And you can be exceptional. But you made a point of the first thing. What did you want to say? I cut you off there.
No, we didn't cut me off, but I just wanted to agree with dude, that's another huge issue nowadays is the pornography thing. And it's so it's funny. If you ask most of our parents, I'll say most because there are some older parents, but if you ask most of our parents, all of them met, where'd you meet? My dad set me up, A. Yeah. B, I met her at a bar. C, I saw her on the street walking, so I went up to her and said hi. And now it's like now the problem is everyone's meeting them online. So we're automatically reducing that interaction. But the big cause of all this, why I bring that up is because guys are so addicted to pornography and that they don't see the need to go out and find their soulmate. And they're just like, I'll get it later. I'll just jerk off now. Yeah. Like, who cares? Dude, I have a math test. Let me jerk off. Jesus. Yeah. So dude, I unironically had a friend who told me he wouldn't come out to a bar because he wanted to jerk off. Because he said he has a better chance with his right hand than he does with an actual girl.
Holy shit. Unironically.
And he went and stayed home and jerked off for 3 hours. I don't even understand how that's possible, first of all. But
yeah, 3 hours is crazy.
3 hours is crazy. But second of all, I mean, dude, it's like our guy, okay, I don't want to incriminate myself here, but it's our guy instinct to be attracted towards women and to be sexually attracted towards women. Yeah. And this guy's sexually attracted towards his phone. Yeah. That's insane.
I mean, I attribute a lot of this to societal bullshit. And not in the way, because when I was younger, you're coming up through high school, you're trying to figure out how the world works. Yeah. It was a lot of complaining. It was why is the world so fucked up? XYZ, these are the problems in the world. Why are there so many problems?
Yeah.
Now I don't say that. Now I'm like, the world's fucked. I got to be a meerkat. Let me just stand up. The world's going to stay fucked for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I can't expect things to change, so I got to change myself.
Yeah.
As I was talking about.
You have to be the meerkat that goes and hunts for the scorpions, not the meerkat that just feeds off of scraps.
Exactly. Thank you for building onto the story.
No, I love the meerkats analogy.
You could be a co-author with me. Write the book.
Dude, it's a great analogy. I've never thought about it that way. It's just like, it's really good.
Appreciate it.
It's really good, man.
So, what were we guys addicted to their phone. So, a lot of it is societal. And there's so mmany problems. And that's the thing, is that all the men think that the women are trash and all the women think the men are trash. Mm-hmm. And it's a race to the bottom. When literally
I like that, race to the bottom.
It is a race to the bottom because they both think they're the victim. That's the thing. The men and the women both think they're the victim.
Of course.
The men think they're the victim of the feminist movement, and then the women.
Me Too stuff is a big.
That's the thing, is that why would I go to a bar? She's gonna call me a rapist. That's a problem.
I don't know if you're allowed to air. I'd be surprised if you air that, but yeah.
I will. That's fine. That's fine.
That's good.
Not funded by Victoria College. All right. So we're good. But it's an issue.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, 100%. It's a big issue.
And the women, once again, are struggling because all the men aren't shit. They're jacking off for 3 hours. So they feed off each other's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's ruining the world.
Yeah. Well, like another big thing that I think porn has really ruined is like guys' urge to start a family.
That's like another terrible,
and like to really like, like go out there and like find a girl that first of all you find attractive, or that is attractive. Say that.
Yeah.
But I mean, to go out, find a girl that's attractive, that they find attractive, and then like procreate and start a lineage.
Yeah.
And nowadays guys are like, oh, I'll just postpone that till I'm 40 because I can jerk off. I can sleep around.
Insane.
Yeah, dude, it's a problem, dude. Like the birth rate's, I think, declining. I think it started declining a couple of years ago, but like we're in the decline.
Yeah. So I don't understand these clowns that are talking about overpopulation.
Oh.
When the birth rate's declining.
No, dude, overpopulation is the biggest myth. It's literally the government's way of saying that we just need to kill people ethically. Yeah. And then like Elon Musk, he posted about it.
Yeah.
I know that you're a fanboy. I'm a huge fanboy of Elon Musk.
It's good.
He posted, he's like millionaires should be at the forefront of like just procreation. Like they should be having as many kids as their wife can provide.
Right.
But they should be leading the front. Like these guys can't afford kids. Why are you spending $400 million on a jet? Go and buy a $30 million jet. Yeah. Spend $10 million raising 10 kids. Yeah. Life's so much more fulfilling once you start kids. Well, not once you start kids. Once you have kids and grow them, raise them.
I agree. And there's this weird, like you said, Elon Musk was also talking about it, and it makes sense. There's this weird thing where a lot of the like you said, the richest people in the world, a lot of the elites, the shadow figures, if you want to call them, don't want people having kids.
Oh, of course not.
They don't want people. They I don't know if they genuinely believe overpopulation's a problem.
No.
What I think is that it's like AI is coming in.
Yeah.
People cause problems. This guy wants a fucking house. He's causing shit. How about we start a trend on TikTok where people say we're dinks, double income, no kids.
I hate that. Yeah.
The worst thing ever.
Worst thing ever.
The most embarrassing videos I've ever witnessed in my life.
Yeah, I agree.
Double income, no kids is ridiculous.
100%.
I think that you have a duty to have kids.
Dude, the one thing I don't understand is like all these guys want to be average, and then it's like, oh, like I don't want to have kids because like my life sucks and I don't want them to come into this world. That's like a big argument for these dinks.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like you're a bum.
Yeah.
Like you should be like, the point of you as a man is to work towards creating that kind of safe space and a desirable place for your kid to live in. And I mean, there are some people who are exempt. Like you'll have some females who have male temperaments, who like cannot be mothers,
right?
And you have some men who have more feminine temperaments, who again can't really raise kids because I wouldn't say can't raise kids.
I was gonna say, do you think they can't, like actually?
I wouldn't say can't. I just don't think that they would, like they wouldn't prosper from it, because like, okay, well I believe in traditional gender roles. So like I think that a woman, like my wife, should hopefully take care of my kids while I go and work and work my ass off. I don't mind working 12 hours a day if my wife takes care of my kids and raise them to be good. But like you'll have some females who will be presented with a kid, because like most females, you can present them with a child, and they'll like reasonably know how to take care of them. But some with the male temperament will look at a kid and they'll just be in shock. They'll be like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Like they don't have an instinct. I don't want to say instinct, but they don't have like this like inclination to nurture.
Do you think that that's trying to get like killed out of women these days?
Oh, 100%. Dude, okay, I don't know if I can say this, but this whole like career thing about like telling women that they should be career, like CEO girls, or like girl bosses, I don't know what they're called nowadays, but there's a term for them, and I forget because my ex-girlfriend used to always like that was but anyways, that's a topic for another time.
Okay.
Yeah, like all these women are being fed lies that they find their purpose in work. No one finds their purpose in work unless you are let's say a very special person who is very what's the word? Who's like entranced by this stuff. Like there are some people who are legit code monkeys and like code grunts.
Yeah.
Right? And like that's their purpose and they don't need, but like wait, I kind of lost my train of thought. What were we
talking about? How the people don't find their purpose in work.
Yeah. So no one finds their purpose in work. Yeah. Some people do, these code monkeys do, okay? Like whatever. Like there's exceptions to every rule.
Right.
But even the guys do not find purpose in their work. Women will never find purpose in their work. Normal guys, they find their purpose by providing and protecting. What they do while the man provides, whether it's work or protect or whatever they do, is like providing. The act of providing is much more fulfilling than becoming a CEO.
Right.
Same thing with the women, I believe. They find, well, actually, and a lot of people that I know, they find that it's more fulfilling to actually raise a family than it is to work.
Right.
So they're being fed a big lie, in my opinion.
It's interesting. Yeah, you're definitely going to piss some of the CEOs off. Piss off some of the girl bosses.
Yeah.
They might come after you. I've also been told from my my don't get canceled, Carter, on your podcast team. You know, I got a consultation team that, you know, warns me of certain topics, and apparently they don't like being called females. So that also might get you canceled, but it's okay. It's on VoV. I'm changing. I said it to you off camera. We are changing the mission statement of the podcast from interviewing. Unfortunately, sorry, you couldn't be included in the most interesting and impressive college personalities. The original mission statement was VoV podcast interviewing the most interesting and impressive college personalities that guided us through our first 37 episodes, which is nice. But now, changing the mission statement, VoV podcast, our new goal is promoting diversity of thought. Promoting diversity of thought. There's a lot of people promoting diversity as long as people think the same way. Mm-hmm. You can have a bunch of different races, but as long as you all have the same ideas, that's awesome. Yeah. But I believe in all sorts of diversity, particularly diversity of thought. I want to have you on. I want to have people that disagree with you on. I want to have people that disagree with me on.
Yeah.
Every voice can come here. I'm open. I've never denied anyone to come on this show. Maybe it's been a couple, like maybe they've applied months ago and I haven't gotten back necessarily, but it's coming. I've never straight up said someone, sorry, this application sucks. You're not coming on. If you want to come on, I will have you. Just a matter of when we get you on. But
that's a good thing to have. Like we actually need that because that's how you create ideas, right? Nothing new comes out of everyone doing the same thing. You need a trailblazer. I don't want to call you a trailblazer. Actually, okay, let's call you in our days.
I appreciate that.
You are a trailblazer.
Thank you, sir.
So, you know, like we need people like you to open up the discussion because you basically want people to come to their own conclusion. Yep. People only seeing one side, then they don't truly believe because they don't know the other side. Mm-hmm. That's like me. Like I'm religious. But I'm strong in my religion because I understand the other side. Like it's tough being religious.
Yeah.
Like I'll look at some things. I'm like, dude, like God is everywhere at every single moment. Like that makes absolutely no sense. And it's difficult to wrap my head around.
Right.
But that doesn't make me an unbeliever.
Yeah.
So I'm strong in my belief that I believe he's there. So or something like that, right? Something along those lines.
Yeah. What I like to say is like a lot of these scientists. I'm gonna make a video on it. I'm doing a new segment, Clown of the Month. One of them is gonna be science worshippers. So there's people that treat science as like their faith, their religion.
Scientology, I think it's what it's called.
I think Scientology. Or is it something? I feel different? Like Scientology might be a real religion, or am I?
Well, that's what you're saying.
Is that right? What I'm saying? Oh, okay, maybe. I have no idea. So maybe it's Scientology. Maybe I'm going to be dissing on people that are.
Or maybe really I'm just an idiot and I got it wrong.
I have no idea. But how does it circle into? Oh yeah, my argument when I talk to them about God is that you're trying to get me to give you a logical argument for God. You're trying to get me to use the scientific method that you praise to prove God. That's not what God is. You get to God through faith. It's not logic. Everywhere all at the same time. That's not a logical statement to make. It's faith. It's a completely different way of thinking. Course. But it's still real.
Of course. Yeah, dude, it's actually it's funny you say that because I was what was I doing? Oh yeah, cuz my uncle he's like a big not anti-evolutionary, but he's an anti-Darwinism. So that like we just exclusively came from monkeys and we evolved from monkeys. And he was telling me, it's like, dude, like you look at some of these processes and you're like, there's no way that this came about by chance.
Right.
Like the chances of our body making the thing that like the proteins that create DNA is like it's not even in our combinatorial space. Like you can't even imagine how small that number is. For us to perfectly get to this point is like by chance is just like ludicrous. Like we'd have to be, everyone is the luckiest human being on this earth.
Right.
Which is, I mean, I guess we are because we're all in God's image, but whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, that like builds off of your thing of like when you try to talk to people about God.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Everything just comes from science. So
absolutely. It's a good point.
Yeah.
And circling back into the discussion, having different people on.
Yeah.
I have been told that I am not very argumentative on this podcast. So like even with people that I sometimes disagree with, it's like I won't straight up tell them, which I probably should do more of, because I think that's how you get real discussion. I'm not just like, once again, it's hard because some of these people I've never met. Like we're meeting for the first time right here.
Yeah.
So if you said
Car's a great guy, guys. Car's a great guy.
Thank you. So if you said something that I was like completely like distraught by, you haven't really said anything that crazy this podcast.
No.
But no, if you said
unless
something,
you want me to.
That's all right. Up to you, man. If you said something that was just completely crazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying now to like get more like, no, that's bullshit. Like I want to be able to do that with guests more.
Well, I wouldn't say like I'm not trying to like be the bigger man here, but like if you are going to disagree, I wouldn't say that's bullshit.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
okay.
No, respectfully.
Yeah. Respectfully, yeah, because that's a problem. Like you get people who disagree, and then they just start screaming at you and like labeling you.
Yeah.
And that gets me nowhere. Like, okay, I'm an idiot, I'm an asshole.
Right.
I'm still 0 steps closer to learning how feminism works or something like that. Right?
That's a good point. That's a good point. No, that's fair. And you have to know like kind of human psychology and persuasion.
100%. Oh yeah.
There's different stances you need to take when you're talking with someone who kind of agrees with you versus someone who's like completely on the other side.
Of course.
So like if you're in war and if you're in war on the battle line, you're trying to argue a peace treaty with the other side. Mm-hmm. You're not going to stand all the way at the back of your of your territory and try to argue. You have to come to the middle. You have to come to their kind of close to them so you can at least talk to the guy. You have to see each other's argument first.
Yeah.
And then move on from there. Whereas if I'm talking to someone that I know agrees with 90% of what I say, you can be more extreme in the sense of less so considering the other side. If you're just trying to like get them to completely agree with you.
Yeah. I think it's also partly a game of chance on the other person's psychology, because like I'll speak to some people and like we'll disagree, and I'll get some I'll get some opposition that's very accepting of the opposition, like you are, and then I'll get some other people who aren't. So it's all just a game of chance of, I guess, how like how brainwashed they are,
right?
In terms of like how they act and like whether they see what they think is like as gospel, let's say, or
So, absolutely, no, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, don't talk to people that won't listen, right?
I I mean, I believe that to some degree, but yeah.
It's hard on this podcast. If someone wants to come on and then not listen to me, we're kind of going to be sitting here for a while. But yeah. Anyways, no, this has been a good conversation. I appreciate you coming on.
Is it over?
We'll wrap it up. Do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts? I
always ask for final thoughts if you want another topic.
Okay, final thoughts. One thing that you should talk to people about is this whole screening text culture. This is actually my final thought.
What's screening text?
Screening text. Okay, like you know how when you get a phone call and then you like just ignore it, but you know who it is.
Okay,
that's called screening a call.
Okay.
People do that with text messages.
Okay.
And dude, that annoys the absolute shit out of me.
So you read the text and then don't answer.
They read the text and they don't answer. Like, dude, I get so worked up about this. Dude, I could write a fucking book about this shit. That's how passionate I am.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like unbelievable. I will text someone. 2 weeks later, I get a response to this text. I'm like, dude, you read this shit 2 weeks ago. Like, it takes literally 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And the other bad thing is, like, especially with girls, when like you look at their text, like they'll show you their phone and they're like 400 unread messages. Yeah. I'm like, dude, like what? Like, are you trying to fucking like go on some fucking like national trophy for most unread messages? Like the fuck. But then the biggest problem I have with this is that it's ruining communication among people.
True.
Because they're looking at it and they're just ignoring it, right? That's the equivalent of me walking up to you, Carter, saying, hey, Carter, how's it going? How was your day? You look at me, you turn around. I stand right there. He's doing it right now, too. I turn, and then he turns around and leaves. And then 2 weeks later, you come back and you respond to that question.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's so unattractive.
Yeah. That's fair.
Dude, if you want to talk to me about that, just start asking people. Because everyone does nowadays. I'm like really on the ball with it. Like I will text instantly.
That's good.
Except for because I have game for certain people, I'm not allowed to text instantly. Yeah. Because I'll be seen as a creep. But for the most part, I text instantly. I answer every call. But like, dude, you start asking people like, oh, like how many unread text messages do you have? Because I have zero unread text messages, 0 unread calls, and 0 unread voicemails.
Yeah. That's an admirable trait.
Yeah.
I respect that a ton. And I'm not on your level. I'll admit it. I'm not out here purposely leaving people on red. Mm-hmm. But no, I think that as soon as you read a message, like you said, it's 10 seconds. I got to work on that. I'll admit it. I'll expose myself. But no, I'm not like these fucking, I'm not trying to win a national trophy. I'm not trying to win a national trophy. Like you said, in 2 weeks is insane.
Unbelievable. Also, I mean, P.S. final thought, dude, I just need a wife.
You need a wife?
I need a wife.
Hit him up.
Anyone.
What's the at?
You'll tag my hand.
I'll tag him. Yeah, for sure. Sounds good. What's some wife qualities you're looking for?
Wife qualities I'm looking for? Like I don't really like look for much. Like I mainly look that you want to start a family. Okay, so there's actually 2 main ones. One is that you're religious. Like preferably my religion, because it makes every single discussion that we have so much easier. There'll be less arguments because you agree fundamentally on the exact same thing.
Right.
That everything, okay, let's say like, I don't want my kid to go up, come up to me, ask me, oh, like, what's God? And then go ask my, a potential atheist wife.
Yeah.
And then there's an argument. And that's like, I don't want to
Absolutely.
Argue with my wife for 40 years. Like, I'm going to be stuck with her.
Absolutely.
So like, and like, I'm not going to divorce her because I'm not like that. But like, I don't want to argue.
I mean, yeah, before you get married, you have to be able to pick the perfect wife. That's what a wife should be.
Exactly. The one and only. Mm-hmm. And then the other quality, just be able to talk, man. Just like, dude, like you're an amazing orator. You're good at conversation. That's good.
Thank you.
Like if you were a girl.
If I was a girl. Appreciate it. Thank you.
But yeah, no, dude, like I don't want to bum. Like I want to sit by my future fireplace and have a conversation with tea or like wake up in the morning at 7, enjoy morning coffee. Like, I don't want to stare at a wall and talk to a wall. Yeah. I want to talk to a person.
So this is a big question that guys like to ask. In a wife, are you looking for a teammate or a cheerleader? Or do you not like the question?
I think I'd probably want someone who could play both fields, because you need a teammate to raise a family. No way one person's raising a family. That's A, selfish to who's ever leaving out, and B, that's just ridiculous. Like you're just a bum.
Yeah.
But I'd also like a cheerleader because I want to come home from work after working God knows how many hours, if I'm working that many hours. And I want to be like, hey, husband, you did a good job and you're providing for my family, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And makes it known in front of the kids. Yeah. So yeah, like I'd like both. There's a third option.
Okay. Oh, this is a question I wanted to bring up when you were talking about it. Dream wife.
Ooh.
Okay, everything's set up, but she says, Daniel, I love you very much. However, I really, really want to go work 10 hours a day for Coca-Cola.
So my response would be if she's willing to first raise a kid.
So how long does that take?
So as kids get older, they're able to govern themselves pretty much.
Yeah.
And the more kids you have, the easier it gets. So my sister-in-law, she started working again, and her kids are like 9, 7, and 5, as I said earlier. I would say that's fine. And I would say, like, as long as you don't bring home, like, your work garbage, as long as you're willing to start a family with me, honestly, if they agree to that, after they start a family, I mean, like, both parties are lazy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the woman obviously has a bigger toll because she gave birth.
Right.
So, I mean, most of the time, I just want to relax.
Fair.
I don't know if I could say that without getting an angry mob.
Okay, can you bring home your work garbage?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't need to. If I have work garbage, dude, I deal with that shit in my head, and I'm a stoic, man.
There you go.
Dude, all this philosophy.
See, this is me. I'm trying to, get some disagreement here and challenge you.
Why you don't
just like what I said. I'm trying to argue with my guest more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no. Like there's no need, dude. If you bring like as a man, if you start complaining, I mean, like if you start complaining and then it drags down your life, then you're actually a bum.
Yeah, you're not a man.
Yeah, you're not a man. Like,
easy.
But like I'll when I was working my blue collar job, like I'll f something up, or someone will say something stupid, or something will happen. I'll swear for like 10, 15 minutes, start complaining. Move on, dude. Water under the bridge.
Yeah.
It's my favorite quote. Water under the bridge.
Nice. It's good. Respect. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me, Carter.
What was that last thing? Oh yeah. Last question. Last question. A random wife appears in front of you right now.
She blonde.
Sure, she's blonde. And you can only ask her one question to get to know her. What's the one question?
That's a good question. Wow. That's a good question.
What's the one question that will tell you the most about your wife?
I think...
Did you already... You said something about religion.
Yeah, I think it would have to be something like, are you Catholic?
Okay.
And if she says yes, then... like, assuming from there I get married, like, I would be, like, it would statistically be a better life for me than if it was someone who wasn't religious.
I agree.
I mean, I don't want to say statistically because that's just a garbage word that I just threw there, but, like, it makes more sense.
Yeah. So that's true. That's a good.
Yeah.
Point. All right. So, if you're a Catholic woman watching this, looking to get married, hit them up. Ladies and gentlemen, that is VoV podcast. I don't know what episode this is. I don't know when it's going to be out, but
Neither do I.
We're going to hope to get it out to you as quickly as possible. Thank you for watching. Follow the Instagram at Voices of Vic. Subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss these dope-ass interviews. And we'll see you next Sunday. Keep promoting diversity of thought. Peace out.